there was this one time I was out in Eastern Canada climbing with a buddy. And actually, I was mostly climbing by myself. But this one day, and at that time, I was super strict with my diet. I didn't eat any sugar, any junk food, any fat. Anyway, so this one day, I came back from climbing and I had forgotten to bring any lunch, and it was late in the evening, and I was just starving. And I get back to his place. He's gone. I don't know where he was. Anyway, I figured, okay, I got to go to the store and get some food, but I'll just eat something out of his fridge. I looked in his fridge, and his typical bachelor's fridge. There's some old mustard and mayonnaise and a few other creepy things in there. And I'm like, oh man, I'm just wasted. I got to psych up and go to the store. And then just before I left, I look in the freezer, and there's this, I don't know, quart of ice cream. And I'm like, well, I don't eat ice cream, so I guess I'm just going to have to go to the store. And I'm still trying to psych up, and I'm like, I'll just have a spoonful of ice cream just to get the energy to go shopping. And, that went down. Basically the whole quart went down. I ate the whole quart of ice cream. And I'm just like, okay, now I've got the energy to go to the store, but I'm just filled with self-loathing. I'm just like, I polluted my temple. I suck. I'm probably going to suffer for, the next couple of days from eating this horrible food. Anyway, so I go to the store, get a bunch of groceries, fill up his refrigerator. And the next day I wake up and I'm kind of like, man, I feel pretty good. And that day I could not get tired. I felt so strong. And I just felt like unstoppable. I felt like I was on some, super steroid and cocaine. And, just a whole bunch of performance-enhancing drugs. And I could not get tired. Now, what I learned from that? Well, no, I didn't learn that I should eat ice cream every day and that's the way I'll climb way better. It's just sometimes, being too neurotic about one way of eating can hurt you. And then also sometimes just going off the reservation. And at times that might mean changing your diet, or just in the short term, just eating junk food. Or I guess my main point is that I've never found a single way of eating that is the perfect way to go 100% of the time. And I think using some kind of variety and restraint at some times, and then blowing off the restraint at other times, and embracing the horror of eating whole quart of ice cream in one sitting.
What was the flavor of ice cream?
I think it was like vanilla, and I hate vanilla ice cream. It was some ice cream that I was just starving, and it wasn't like it was my favorite type of ice cream. It was just what was there.
And not like you're going to eat ice cream every day, but it's not like you ate that ice cream and then, were terrible at rock climbing, for forevermore.
Yeah, one thing this conversation reminds me of talking to John Bachar, and I remember him saying that, like I say, he was way ahead in training than anybody I ever met at that time. And he said at one point he figured, okay, I'm going to drop a bunch of weight and just see how my climbing is. And to a certain point, his climbing got maybe a little bit better, and then he dropped another 10, 15 pounds or something like that. And he said that, he saw his climbing performance drop off and his endurance drop off. And so then he just, it wasn't about trying to look good in skinny jeans. It was just like purely just pragmatic. What is the best thing for my climbing? So then he put back on the 10 to 15 pounds and climbed much better.
All right, y'all, just a quick 30 seconds here to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Frictitious Climbing. Y'all, check out this thing that they invented here. This is so rad. It's a doorway mount for your hangboard. No screwing, no drilling, no punching holes in your walls. If you travel a lot, this thing's amazing. You can put any hangboard you own onto this thing, or you can score one of their rad hangboards for 20% off, hitting that link below. It can come pre-mounted like mine did. So I popped it out of the box, I mounted it on the doorway, no mess, no fuss, and boom, you're hanging your tendons in minutes. I love this thing.
And so, experimenting with yourself, and again, you can take information from other people, but it's way more valid if you found it out on your own. For instance, in my climbing at one point, I was super into, I was just getting into the whole idea of doing big link ups in the mountains, big ridge traverses and stuff. And one of the things I felt would really help is if I didn't have to carry much weight with me. And so I was reading in triathlon magazines and stuff to do with endurance and trying to find out if you could teach your body to burn fat efficiently. Because if you could do that efficiently, then, you obviously wouldn't have to carry very much stuff. And at that time, it seemed about 50-50. Some specialists or scientists figured, you can't change, you can't change how you burn fat. You're just born with how you deal with it, and you can't change that at all. And other people said, no, you actually can. And now the science says that, yeah, you can do that. But at that time, I was just hearing conflicting things. And so I just figured I'm going to find out for myself. And so I went to, I was living in Canada. I went back down to that place I was telling you about, Leavenworth in eastern Washington. And I just made it a point, okay, I'm going to solo a minimum of 25 pitches a day for a week straight. And I'm going to make sure that on each of those days, I was never going to have more than 500 calories.
Oh my God.
And so what I found is I'd feel kind of weak first thing in the morning, and then I would push through that. And then I would, after about an hour of kind of struggling a little bit, then it's like I pushed through a barrier, and then I could just climb all day long. And so I did that for about 7 days, and I kind of go, okay, I think I've got my answer. And then there was a big traverse I wanted to do in that area up in the Stewart Range. And that day I took I had like an old mashed up banana. I stuffed it in a water bottle and filled up the water bottle, and that was it for, I think it was like a 17 or 18 hour day. But yeah, it's like my energy was just fine all day long. And, I had my answer. And it was just that much more valid because I had sort of not just found out that you can teach your body, but I taught my body to burn fat more efficiently, or at least this is the way I saw it, over the course of about a week. And then when I went up into the mountains, I just needed hardly any food at all.
I feel like you draw your energy from the mountains themselves, Peter. It wasn't the banana that kept you going on that Stewart Range traverse. It was just the psych of being climbing. I wonder if you did that same experiment, but instead of rock climbing, you're just like, doing accounting. If you would bonk.
But no, inspiration for sure, and that's probably. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be more central to my climbing than just pure inspiration. That is probably the fuel more than anything else.